Hello class. So today we are going to learn about one of the greatest Mughal emperor of India and the Mughal dynasty, that is Akbar. So let us start by knowing about his biography, the famous battle fought by him, the Navratans and Bairam Khan. Akbar's original name is Abu Effat Jalaluddin Muhammad Akbar. He is more famously known as Akbar the Great and was the third emperor of the Mughal Empire after Babur and Humayun. He was the son of Nasiruddin Humayun and succeeded him as the emperor in the year 1556 at the tender age of just 13 years. Succeeding his father, Humayun, at a critical age, he slowly enlarged the extent of the Mughal emperor to include almost all the Indian subcontinent. He also extended his power and influence over the entire country due to his military, political, cultural, and dominance. He was born at the Umerkot fort in Sindh on October 15, 1542. The 13-year-old Akbar was enthroned by Bairam Khan and was proclaimed the Shehenshah. Now, what do you understand by this word Shehenshah? Shehenshah means the ruler of the kings, and he ruled from February 14, 1556 to October 27, 1605. He established a very well system of administration. His father, Humayun, was also a great emperor of the Mughal dynasty. During the Battle of Kannauj, which was against Sher Shah Suri, Humayun lost the war, and then he, along with his wife Hamida Banu Begum, went for exile, and she was pregnant at that time, but was granted a refugee by a Hindu ruler, Rana Prasad. As Humayun was in exile and had to move constantly, Akbar was brought up at the household of his paternal uncles Kamra Mirza and Aksari Mirza. Growing up, he learned how to hunt and fight using various weapons, shaping up to be the great warrior who would be the greatest emperor of India. Now, what do you understand by this term centralized system of administration? Centralized system means that as the empire was so huge that it was managed by different officers or nobles under the Mughal Empire, and those nobles or officers were elected by the king, that is Akbar. But ultimately the main power was under Akbar. Now, as the king was the central body and he was the main ruler and decided upon all the policies, this system was called as the centralized system of administration. Now, Akbar also adopted a policy of marriage, alliance, and diplomacy. Now, what do you understand by this marriage alliance? Marriage alliance means that he believed in the fact that the best way to extend his empire was getting married and forming an alliance with his in-laws. Likewise, if we give a famous example of this marriage alliance is of Queen Jodhabai and Akbar. Jodhabai belonged to Rajasthan and was married off by her father to Akbar so that the king, that is Akbar, doesn't attack the empire, and maintained a friendly relations with the Rajputs. Akbar was very fond of literature. He extended support to literature in several languages. With his religious policy, he won the support of his non-Muslim subjects as well. Akbar thus laid the foundation for a multicultural empire during his reign. Now, In what ways did Akbar won the support of his non-Muslim subjects? If we think closely, we can say that he was not a forceful ruler who forced his kingdom or the people under his kingdom to adopt the Muslim religion. He supported and also participated in various festivals and encouraged cultural functions, events, and everything so that his empire feels safe and would appreciate him as the ruler. And by doing such things, he won the support of all the people under his rule, and that is also one of the reasons why he was considered to be the great, because rest all the Mughal rulers or also the other empire who belonged to the other faith somewhere forced the people to adopt their religion. Now let us see the extent of Mughal Empire in India. In this map you can see that the map is colored in 4 different colors. The very first ruler of the Mughal Empire was Babur, whose extent is marked in yellow color. Yellow is on the top left corner, and we can see that it's a kind of a small portion which was under his rule. The second ruler of the Mughal Empire is Humayun. His extent is colored in the dark purple shade, which is till 1530. Humayun kind of extended his empire more in the Indian territory. Now, the third ruler is Akbar, who extended his empire till 1605 and has almost covered the majority portion of it. Likewise, if we see, it's almost the half of the Indian territory. The pink shade is when Aurangzeb came under the lead, and that's how almost the entire Indian subcontinent was under the Mughal rule. For a better picture, we can see the other map. In this map you can see that the entire yellow part is under Akbar, and then after the Aurangzeb rule, the orange part also came under the Mughal rule. The yellow part is huge. It covered the half of the Indian subcontinent and also beyond India, the area of Pakistan and Afghanistan. Likewise, Akbar had extended the empire to a great extent after his father Humayun. Moving ahead, let us know one of the most prominent features of the Akbar's administration was of Navratans. Now let's study about them. Navratan means the 9 gems of Akbar, which indicates the 9 greatest extraordinary and excellent individuals in the palace of the ruling emperor Akbar. The Navratna of Akbar includes some famous personalities in Indian history such as Raja Todarmal, Birbal, Mullah Do Piazza, Raja Man Singh, Fakir Azinuddin, Tansen, Faizi, Abu Fazl and Abdul Rahim Khane Khana. These include people from both Hindu and Muslim communities. Now let's learn about them in detail. Starting with the very first, that is Abu Fazl bin Mubarak. Abul Fazl was the second child of the Indian scholar and teacher Sheikh Mubaraka. He held the department of the Chief Advisory and was also the author of Akbar biography, which was named as Akbar Nama, and was a Grand Vizier or Prime Minister of Akbar. He was introduced to Akbar's palace somewhere at the age of 23. Becoming a liberal philosopher personally, he expanded the religious tolerance to the king and the empire. His initial job was as a military leader in the Deccan. He is also well known for writing all the 3 volumes of Akbarnama, which made him one of the famous 9 gems of Akbar. Second is Raja Todarmal, Todarmal was born into a Hindu family in Laharpur, Uttar Pradesh. He was the finance minister of Akbar. He struggled to remain afloat as a born out of the wedlock child. Todarmal stayed in the Akbar service after the Mughals defeated in the Suri ruler and found his place in the Navratan of the Akbar. His greatest gift in India, which is still used in various parts today, is the revenue system, which included establishing a surveying and mapping system, standards, weight and measures, and tax district. Next is Abdul Rahim Khane Khana. He was a poet, diwan, and one of the 9 gems of Akbar. Khane Khana in Punjab's Nawashar province. He was Akbar's value protector and tutor. Behram Khan's son, as he handled the Department of Defense as a defense minister of Akbar, also was one of the renowned poet in his kingdom. Next is Mulado Piazza. He is regarded as Akbar's secretary ministry. This Navratan of Akbar controls the country's domestic security, particularly the law enforcement agency. Mulado Piazza is considered a fictional character by most researchers. He appears in a variety of folk stories. At the end of the 19th century, he first emerged in these folk stories. Talking about Faizi, he was the teacher of Emperor Akbar's son, along with the Minister of Education in his kingdom. Faizi was Abu Fazl's Ibn Mubarak brother, who was a member of Akbar's judicature. Akbar engaged him to the tutor of the royal son. He was afterward appointed the Sadr again for states of Agra, Kalinjar, then Kalpi, and was appointed poet of a tribunal in 1588. Next is Fakir Azinuddin. He was a mystic who acted as emperor, Akbar's chief advisor. His advice was valued highly by the king, who rightfully named them as one of the 9 gems. He advised the emperor on the religious concerns. The most famous one was Tansen. He was of a Hindu religion and studied engineering. He began his career under the sponsorship of Ramchand of Rewa state. Being one of the 9 gems of Akbar, he was a writer, instrumentalist, and singer, as well as an accomplished musician. And he was one of the contemporary music's greatest significant individuals in Hindustani music in India. Next, we're gonna talk about Raja Man Singh I. He became Amber's Rajput's Raja, present-day Jaipur. Manorma Bai, one of the Akbar's closest generals, married Crown Prince Dara Sikh. He handled the department of Mughal army and was a trusted general of Akbar. Lastly, we would have all seen some of the stories or series based on Akbar and Birbal, because Birbal was considered as one of the smartest and the most intellectual person among all the 9 jewels, and had a close bond with Akbar because he was also the most trusted one of Akbar. He was a noble known for his wittiness and was also the foreign minister of Akbar. All these 9 gems are really very important and took a lead role in expanding the Mughal Empire in India. The first battle of Panipat was fought between Humayun and Sher Shah. Likewise, the second battle of Panipat is also one of the famous battles in the Mughal history. Panipat was the location where this battle was fought and was therefore called as the Battle of Panipat. In 1556, Akbar was given the throne and was just 13 years old. He was quite a child to take all the decisions of the kingdom. Hemchandra Vikramaditya, famously known as Hemu in short, led the Afghan army to capture the Agra and Delhi. He was sent by the son-in-law of Suri to capture the throne of Delhi. Hemu was the military genius, and the Afghan army was bigger than the Mughal army because they were well planned and was very determined to capture the region of Delhi and establish the empire in India. Bahram Khan was the regent of Akbar and took all the decision on his behalf because Akbar was too small to take those decisions, and he was also a very faithful person to the crown. Bahram Khan led the Mughal army from the back and placed skilled generals on the front, left and right flank. Young Akbar was there for the war but was kept at a safe distance by his regent because he was the ruler and his life was very important for the throne or the kingdom to function ahead. Therefore, initially Hemu's army was in a better position, but a sudden change in the tactics by Bahram Khan managed to overpower the enemy. This tactic was to place the skilled laborers on the side and the less skilled laborers in the center. Hemu was on an elephant when he was struck by an arrow to his eye, and his elephant driver took his injured master away from the battlefield. Why? For obvious reason, because his life was also important to establish the empire and he was the driver. His duty was to save his master. After the injury to his eye, Hemu was all helpless and was on the verge of death. The Mughal emperor army captured Hemu and killed him. By that way, the second battle of Panipat was crushed and the Afghan power was removed as the threat of the Akbar's throne and was successful in establishing that throne in India. Lastly, the role of Bahram Khan in establishing the Mughal throne in India was very huge. His original name is Bahram Beg. At the age of 16, Bahram entered Babur's service. He was the only one who served all the three generations, which was of Babur, Humayun and Akbar. He was an extraordinary military general, and Bahram Khan led Akbar to his victory against everyone in all the battle. As an able regent, he guided Akbar during hostile situation. Bahram was loyal to the Mughal Empire until Akbar came close to his nurse Maham Anga. Akbar's nurse Maham Anga had other ideas, and because of that, there was a rift between Akbar and Bahram Khan. He later was given the title of Khane-Khana by Humayun because of his extraordinary service. He was consigned with the position of Muhardar, which is keeper of the seals. Now, what does it mean? Seals were very important, which portrayed the establishment of the Mughal rule and was used during trade. He also took part in the military campaigns in Benares, Bengal and Gujarat. He was born on 31st January 1561 in Gujarat. His wife's name was Salima Sultan Begum and son name was Abdul Rahim Khane-Khana, who was one of the 9 jewels under the Akbar administration. Bahram had served Babur Empire since he was just 16 and actively participated in the early Mughal conquest of India. In 1560, Akbar dismissed Bahram and ordered him to go on a pilgrimage to Mecca. However, he died midway on 31st January 1561 in Gujarat. So thank you class today for attending this session, and we have covered a lot about Akbar, his 9 jewels, Bahram Khan and the second battle of Panipat, which was one of the most important battles fought by him. To remember his birthday, that is 15th October 1542, and the date he got the throne, that is 14th Feb 1556, and he was just 13 years old then. Also, the policies adopted by him of marriage alliance and a friendly attitude towards all the religion is one of the most significant contribution done by him for the people under his kingdom. Thanks a lot. See you in the next class.